Hey there, guys. So I'm back again, and this time around, I'm not here to discuss, or about the food that I was talking about. Sorry, I've just got a major brain fog. I'm actually here to talk about my anxiety and how it's been going on, and what's improved in the last few weeks or month, if I could say that as well. I'm not sure how long I've been uploading on here, but I reckon right now it's been around, I'd say, a month and a half, if I'm generous. But other than that, so far my anxiety is improving, compared to the way it was a few months ago when everything bubbled up around October, November's time. It was so difficult, and it was hard to, just be myself and do daily tasks. There was a point where I thought, definitely this is an anxiety and this is something much worse. And that's the point that you reach once it turns from anxiety or panic to, deep personalization and derealization. It's a feeling like you're alienated and it's just you in the world that feels this way. So I've definitely felt that, and it lasted for a long time, to a point I couldn't come out my room. I couldn't talk to people. I was just, doing daily things like working from the room. And whenever I stepped out, beyond the house itself and tried to go to, say, the corner shop or even the supermarket near my house, it was hard. Like, I'll take these steps and I'd leave the house. I'd keep walking. I'll look down. I'll be shivering. I'll be, having racing thoughts, stomach clenched in, jaws tight, all the typical things. And when you're in a mix of it, it just feels like, yeah, I don't know how long I can bear this with, but I feel like not coming out the house again. That's how bad it was. And whenever I returned back to the house, I felt, a sense of achievement, and it felt like a victory. I wanted to continue to have that victory feeling for as long as possible. And most of the time I was taking I haven't said it on here, but I was taking the antidepressant that I've been cutting down of. It's only a small dose that's left now from what I've tapered off. And there was, of course, another tablet just to help me ease off the anxiety. And I'll take that every once in a while. But then came a point, I remember around November, December-ish, where I thought, because I'm going through this now and I've had anxiety for so many years, and I reached that point where I'm going to put my foot down and I'm going to get rid of it. I don't care what it takes me financially, physically, mentally, whatever exertion it needs, I'm going to put it out there. So I thought I'm going to fling whatever tablets that I thought I needed before, whatever was sort of anchoring me down. I'm not going to, of course, use this no more. So I came to the conclusion that, yeah, I'm not going to do that, and I'm going to face this the normal way. So anyways, fast forward around January time and February, things were getting tough. But I decided to stick with the plan, no matter how tough it gets. And at this time frame, January, February time, is when I was talking to, a few people on TikTok, on Snapchat and stuff like that. And because of what I was going through, I couldn't really, continue any relationships or embark on new relationships either. So just, talking to people online as well was bothering me. It's annoying when you're talking to someone and you feel like you can't respond the way you naturally respond, and you just feel all, completely detached. It is, of course, through a screen, when you're texting and stuff, but it felt like it was more than a screen between us. So I couldn't do it, and I decided to give things a break. And then after that, March and so on, is when I actually started to implement the real techniques that I've been advised, and the recommended, even the typical CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy sort of guidance they do. You've got to do your exposures. You've got to do your healthy living and stuff. Been hearing about healthy living my whole life. Like when you wake up, of course, have a cup of warm water, take your shower, and have your breakfast. Well, I was doing some of those things, but it wasn't important to me. So I never knew the value of it and how much it actually makes a difference in your life. So the things that I was ignoring were very much significant, and these things would make a major difference later on. And I am in that little window of the later on, if that makes sense. So I started to change up my routines, my morning routines, my night routines, and I started to go by that cringe, guidance. I always found it cringe for some reason, like someone telling you what to do. Wake up in the morning, have breakfast, cool. Of course you've got to eat, but to me it used to sound like, have your greens, have your food, have your breakfast, and then sit here, read a book. It just sounded that typical mainstream newspaper stuff. I wasn't into it. So I'd only eat whenever I felt like eating in the morning, whenever I got hungry. So I'd usually wait around 3 hours before I eat. Didn't care how bad I felt in my stomach. And another reason for that is because, when you're so disassociated, you don't even feel the rest of your body. So I'm just living in my head. And I'm just used to keep crashing my body, and just keep going on. Like, I never realized how much damage I did and what could come from what I'm doing right now. So I changed up of course, diet included, and the routines, as I said. And it made a whole lot of difference. And the thing is, when you make these changes, it's not just about doing it once or twice or for a week. And the actual hard part is the consistency part. Like, can you do this week in, week out, next month, and so forth? So because I've only been doing this for, I'd say, around a month now, and the anxiety is subsiding, of course. And, there's still a long way to go, I'll be honest. I'm at the percentage-wise, if I'm being generous, I'd say 70% mark, whereas the 100% is 100% recovered. I don't know what I said on my last video, but this is what I'm feeling now, so don't go back on other videos. But there's a long way to go, and consistency is standing between me and 100% recovery now. And of course, a lot more things that I need to do. So with these videos, of course, it is part of helping me think a bit more clear, getting things off my chest, and a bit of co-regulation. And that's something I picked up from the anxiety lessons I've been doing with Jordan. A lot of the healing itself, when it comes to anything in life, we don't usually talk about this or even consider this, but we know deep down, it's basically when you talk to someone about your issues. So basically anxiety. I can talk about my anxiety to someone for a long time, describe how I've been feeling, what I've gone through, what it's caused me and whatnot. But when you have that person that will just sit there and just listen and sponge up everything you're saying and give you that verbal nod, and also it'd help if they've gone through it as well, But if they can listen to what you're saying, take in what you're saying as well, and, process it a bit and give you, positive feedback, pick, nice words that will comfort you depending on what you're going through, that's basically co-regulation. So from the course that I joined, the coach, Jordan, so he does a lot of co-regulation, and that's where I picked up, like, it's actually working, and it's actually 45% of the healing. Literally, it's what he said when I first joined. It worked. The first few weeks I seen a difference, like I'm starting to feel more like calmer in my body, like usually because I'm talking to people that are not, of course, doing this co-regulation with me. It's just a normal everyday conversation, and I'll just feel still tense and not safe, if that makes sense. So the co-regulation definitely helps, and if you're going through anything out there and you're watching my videos, I would definitely recommend someone to listen to what you're going through. If you could find someone, and the most appropriate person is the one that's actually been in the shoes that you're currently, walking around with, if that makes sense. And there's definitely hope for you out there. I don't care what you're going through. It doesn't matter what you're going through. But there is hope out there for you. There was points where I thought there's no hope for me, and I decided to sick in my shell, as in I'm not going to step out of my room now, let alone venturing out the house and going different places. I don't want to step out of my room. But it takes small courage, and it also takes sometimes literally when you reach the bottom of the pit or the barrel, because once you reach there, the only way is up. And I don't mean that in a cliche way. I mean it as in you've seen it all now, and you're not afraid to take any other, sort of different route or option. So any route that you take or option will have a 50%, see how bad I'm stuttering, 50% chance that it will lead you to something, and it's just literally down to you whether you take that or not. But I'll just end the anxiety updates right here, and I hope I filled you guys in with, how things have been lately, and just a bit more description. And, I spoke about my anxiety in the last, I think, around 2-3 videos. And yeah, so this is just another sort of branch out from that, an update. But other than that, it is a beautiful day, and I'm off tomorrow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be back here or another location, and I've got an interesting topic for you lot. So stay tuned, and I hope you enjoy your day, your evening, and take it easy. Take care.